All right, so in 10-38, it says given the quadratic function f of x equals x minus 3 squared, write a new expression for each part below and describe the transformation. Okay, so it's important for us to know that when we do certain things to a function, what's going to happen to it so we can predict. When we look at this initial graph, we're going to get a quadratic that's going to be at 1, 2, 3, and so we're going to get something that looks like this, okay? And just a sketch. Okay, so then what we're going to do here is we're going to take the function and subtract 1. So I know that f of x equals x minus 3 squared. So I'm going to take the function and then subtract 1. So it's going to be x minus 3 squared minus 1. Okay, so what's that going to do to this graph right here? It's going to drop the vertex down 1 unit. So it's going to shift the quadratic down 1 unit. Shift quadratic down 1 unit. Okay. Now B, we're taking f of x and we're multiplying it by -1. So if I know that f of x equals x minus 3 squared, and so if I subtract f of x or make it negative, so then this is going to be negative x minus 3 squared. So now with the negative out front, what is that going to do to the graph? Well, you all know that when the quadratic is negative, we know that we're going to get this graph that opens down. So we can say opens down. And another way to say this is it would be reflected over the x-axis. Reflected over x-axis. Oopsie. Axis. All right. And then for C, we can take f of x minus 1 and input that into our function. So then what do we get? We get x minus 1. Actually, let me write it out this way. So we have x minus 3 squared. So that's telling me I'm going to put this into x. So when I do that, I get x minus 1 minus 3 squared equals x minus 4 squared. So now basically what it's doing is instead of being at 3, it's at 4. So it shifted my quadratic to the right 1 unit. So shift quadratic to the right 1 unit. All right, and then the last one is we're going to take f of -1x equals x minus 3 squared, and we're going to substitute that in here, and so equals -x minus 3 squared. Okay, so I didn't exactly know what was going to happen with this, so I graphed it with the calculator, and what happened, we're here at 1, 2, 3, and we've got this. This is what we started with. This particular graph is now going to be 1, 2, 3 is going to be over here, and it's basically reflected over the y-axis, and we can see this by minus x. So we start over here at positive x, and then we make it minus x, so it's flipping over. So we would say, actually I can write this over here, reflect over the y-axis.